Welcome MTG Friends, this is Ryan. Let's do another Commander deck tech. We're going to do Magda Brazen Outlaw. This is going to be a build that is probably not what you expect. I like it, it's fun, and this is really going to make your opponents go, what's happening here? Anyways, Magda Brazen Outlaw, it's a 2-drop, 2/1. As of this recording, it's still in Standard. And other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. Mainly, we're going to be tapping Magda to get some token action going on. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Search your library for an artifact or dragon card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That is spectacular. We're going to lever that last part and the part where it doesn't involve dwarves. We're not doing like a dwarves thing going on here. There really aren't enough dwarves to do a tribal thing right now. You know, maybe that'll change in the future, but yeah, the future has not come yet. All right, so let's go through the packages. Dragons, ramp, some land punishment, because after all, we are in red. We got some shenanigans. This shenanigans list was super long at first. I whittled it down to something more palatable. We got a couple tutors, mainly a dragon tutor and the regular tutor you'd expect. We got the Kiki Jiki combo. We got some haste action, removal, and a couple other combos that we will go through. We got a few control pieces and yeah, some treasures as well. A little bit of draw because, you know, after all, red is lacking in draw, so we have whatever we can do to throw at that. As usual, if you're new, subscribe, hit the like, let's move on. All right, Brazen. Let's start with the dragons. Dragons. Yes. Boom, boom, boom in the room. All right, we got Balefire Dragon flying. Whenever it deals damage, it does that much damage to each creature that player has. So she's got the added benefit of being super janky. Dragon Master Outcast. This is a nice little 1-drop. If you got 6 or more lands, you get a 5/5 dragon for your troubles. All right, Dragaseth. Yes, all these dragons have a lot of mana, but we have a lot of ramp going on here, so we will really be able to pull these out relatively quickly. Whenever Dragaseth Mob Flames attacks, deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets. All right, we got Gadrak Crown Scourge. It's a quick drop for a dragon, and then if we got enough tokens, at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token, which is nice, so it's double duty. But if you have 4 more artifacts, then you can attack with it. All right, Hellkite Charger, 6-drop. Whenever Hellkite Charger attacks, you may pay 5, 6, 7. You do untap all attacking creatures and have another combat phase. Yes, yes indeed. And just keep in mind, we're creating treasure tokens, and we have some ramp in here that you're going to be expecting that lets us really start banking red mana. You'll know what I mean when we come across it. Null Spine Dragon flying. When Null Spine Dragon comes into play, you may discard your hand and draw cards equal to the damage dealt to target opponent this turn. So be careful with this one because you could be drawing a whole lot of lands depending on what your board state is. And this is double duty. Again, we can smack them for damage, then be able to draw. So it's kind of a draw slash dragony. Yeah, you get it. You get it. Lathless Dragon Queen. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token. And dragons you control get +1 until end of turn. Oh, lovely, lovely. Nesting Dragon. So there's a board wipe, and you got some O2 red dragon egg creature tokens in play. Those get wiped out, and then you suddenly have a bunch of 2/2 red dragon creature tokens with flying. That have add red. It gets +1 until end of turn. Terror of the Peaks. This one is super duper nasty. Spells your opponent cast that target Terror of the Peaks costs an additional 3 life to cast. Yeah, okay, so it's got a ward effect. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, this is the part that's awesome. Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target creature. The face. I mean, yeah, we like it. Utvara Hellkite. I had to pause there to make sure I said that right. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. Good. All right, we got the first combo, Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. Create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control, except it has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So we got Zealous Conscript out. We got Kiki Jiki, haste, haste, haste. We go ahead and gain control of target permanent, which is Kiki Jiki. Untap it, repeat, 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 repeat. Infinite 3/3 conscripts that are going at your face. That's a really, really janky, fun combo. All right, this is another really interesting combo that you may have not figured out or known about. We got Clock of Omens, tap 2, untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact. Keep that in mind. We got Universal Automaton, which is a changeling, which means it's a, you guessed it, also a dwarf. So if you got your commander out, you go ahead and tap Universal Automaton and you tap Clock of Omens. That creates you a treasure token via the mechanics of your commander. Then you repeat using the token you just generated and repeat, repeat, repeat infinitely, getting infinite tokens. I mean, that's pretty badass. Me likey a lot. All right, we do have another combo in here, but apparently Architect wants us to go into control. Deflecting SWAT. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. And out of characteristic of red, you may choose new targets for target spell or ability. So we can redirect some shenanigans. I love this card in red. All right, some hate pieces here. Your opponent can't search libraries. That's you most every other color, especially blue. And if an opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. That's pointed at you, blue again. Yeah, buddy. All right, Combat Celebrant, another combo, which you can also do with Kiki Jiki, by the way. And we've got the combo of Godo with Celebrant, which goes with Helm of the Host. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token gains haste. So you put that on Godo, ban at Warlord, and then you create a token, copy, or you create a whoa, man! You create a copy, which isn't legendary. So then you get to do its mechanics, which is whenever Godo attacks for the first time each turn, untap it, and all samurai you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. So you just keep creating Godos, and then you start smacking them. I mean, that's fabuloso. And you can also Helm of the Host Combat Celebrant as well. Just super janky-licious fun. If you need more explanation on those combos, I'd welcome a request in the comments section. Hopefully that's self-explanatory though. All right, or has enough explanation. Wow, man. Okay. All right, so we got some draw, Magus of the Wheel. You tap it, pay 2, sacrifice Magus of the Wheel. Each player discards their hand, then draw 7. That works for us because usually we're going to be low on cards because we don't have a lot of draw mechanics in red at our disposal to begin with, unlike green and a lot of the others. Each player discards his or her hand, then draw 7 cards. Miracle, you can do it for 2 if you top deck it. Yeah, buddy. Wheel of Fortune, yes, I know. It's an expensive card. However, all players must discard their hands and draw 7 new cards. If you don't have it, you don't have the budget for it, just put in Wheel of, what is it? What's the, my brain. What's up with my brain? Wheel of Fate, that's right. Just put in a Wheel of Fate instead. It's going to cost you a couple bucks instead of a couple $100. And this just has the suspend for. The downside to Wheel of Fate is they are expecting it, so they can counter if they want, etc., etc., etc. As opposed to Wheel of Fate, which is just absolutely bananas awesome. And here we go. So we were at Wheel of Fate. Now we'll go to Wheel of Misfortuna. Misfortuna! Also a Wheel of Fate-ish type card. Just some extra strange jank with it. Each player secretly chooses a number, 0 or greater. Then all players reveal those numbers simultaneously and determine the highest and lowest number revealed this way. Wheel of Misfortune deals damage equal to the highest number to each player who chose that number. Each player who didn't choose the lowest number discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Yeah, buddy. All right. We're in the land package. Real simple on the land package. We got mountains. We got Nykthos, which gives us devotion to red. We like that. And we got Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, which is comes in tapped. Don't like that, but that's okay. Whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, which is going to be often, if you control at least 5 other mounts, which is likely, you may have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Now, that's most likely going to be helping you continue to clear the board of anything that's bothering you. All right, and then we got War Room. Pay tap 3. Pay life equal to number of colors, which is just 1 for you, and then draw a card. Other than that, that's it. But we have some land hate in the deck because we're in red. All right, we are in ramp. Speaking of which, from the top of the episode, all red creatures gain +1/+1, and all mountains provide an extra red mana when tapped. This is such an amazing card. If you have it, run it. If you don't, consider getting one. If you don't have the budget for it, just put in something else. There's plenty to choose from. Goldspan Dragon, playing double duty. It's ramp because it creates treasure tokens. It's also ramp because when it's on the board, your tokens do 2 colors of 1 mana instead of just 1. This thing is awesome. As of this recording, it is all over the top meta in Standard. Inspiring Statuary. This one's great because we got lots of tokens to play with. Non-artifact spells you cast have improvise, which means we can use those tokens by tapping them and paying for 1 colorless of a spell. That is excellent in this kind of a build. Iron Mire just lets us get a creature out that can tap as a mana dork in red instead of the green that usually does that. Jessica's Will. This is a great early game play. Choose one if you control a commander. As you cast a spell, you may choose both. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand, and that's only 1 opponent. Keep that in mind. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. And then the second part is if you don't need mana and you just really need to start filling your hand up with stuff that you can play. Well, filling the possibilities of playing spells. All right, Leyline Tyrant. I think this has a special place in red. It really, really does. I thought this was broken when it got spoiled. I still think on some level this is broken. 4-drop, 4/4. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. When Leyline Tyrant dies, you may pay any amount of red. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. I mean, that's great. I really want to see this in more people's decks because I just think it's great. Mana Geyser for 5, add red for each tapped land your opponents control. This is really going to put you over the edge if you're looking for lots and lots of mana to dump into one of your spells. Neheb the Eternal, another huge ramp in red. Afflict 3, whenever this creature becomes blocked, defender player loses 3 lives. I mean, yeah, that's fine, whatever. But at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add red to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponent has lost this turn. So we can just really start filling up with mana. This just reduces by 1. Seething Song to get us going in the early mid-game. Add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3. So that is a swappable card if you think that there's enough mana ramp in here already. But this is great, especially early on. Soul Ring. We're going to run a Soul Ring. Sword of Feast and Famine. This is double duty. A quick creature gets +2/+2 and has protection for black and from green. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card, which is fine, and you untap all lands you control, which you can then dump into Tyrant and other things that we have going on. All right, we got a couple tutors. We got the gamble, which is a pretty big staple in red at this point. Search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, discard a card at random, then shuffle your library. Obviously, you don't want to do this if you only have 1 or 2 cards in your hand. But sometimes in a pinch, you gotta risk it. Gotta risk it, y'all. All right, Sarkhan's Triumph. We have enough dragons in this build that have utility to them that we're running this. Search your library for a dragon creature card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. All right, we got some removal, stuff you'd expect, some stuff you may not. Blasphemous Axe, costs 1 less to play for each creature on the battlefield, deals 13 damage to all of them. Chaos Warp, to get rid of something, put it back in their library, and they top deck a card you're hoping isn't awesome. Dwarven Miner. Ah, yes, Dwarven Miner. This one started in here when I was thinking this was going to be tribal, and it still made the cut because it's gross, and I love gross cards. All right, for 3, you tap and destroy target non-basic land. And actually, this should probably be in the land hate section, which I will probably just move after the video. All right, Fiery Confluence for 4. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Fiery Confluence deals 1 damage to each creature. Fiery Confluence deals 2 to each opponent or destroy target artifact. Lots and lots of utility in this card. I'm using my hands like this for some strange reason. All right, Rolling Earthquake. This is where if we want to dump a bunch of mana in, boom. Rolling Earthquake deals X damage to each creature without horsemanship and each player. So make sure you're not too low in life or you're about to whack-a-mole everybody and win the game. But this one has versatility and we can dump lots and lots of mana into it. I love that it's horsemanship. Are you going to run into anybody playing horsemanship? Probably not. Probably not. Vandalblast, destroy target artifact you don't control, or Overload 6, destroy all artifacts you don't control. I mean, that's just amazing. Stolen Strategy for 5. This is a nice little funny hate piece. Hate piece is probably a strong word for it. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library until end of turn. You may cast non-land cards from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So, as red does seem to fall into this issue quite frequently, this is another way where we can start getting cards that we can play where otherwise we're a little light in the hand. All right, Alt Win and also a dragon. Flying Trample whenever Hellkite Tyrant deals combat damage to a player. Gain control of all artifacts that player controls. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. There is a very, very good chance that most of the game you're going to have what you need for the Alt Win. Board wipes aside, but you can even build up after those. All right, we got some land punishment, which that dwarf actually needs to be in. We got Blood Moon. Of course, we're running Blood Moon. I mean, my God, we're running 30 basic mountains. I mean, that's because we're running Blood Moon. Non-basic lands are mountains. Yes, yes, they are. Same thing, but in the form of a creature. Non-basic lands are mountains. And then Mine Layer. This one is super janky and hilarious. A dwarf that does this. Tap for 2, put a mine counter on target land. When a land with a mine counter on it becomes tapped, destroy it. When Mine Layer leaves play, remove all mine counters from all lands. I mean, that is hilarious. And you know what? Shout out to Josh. I didn't even know this card existed. When he knew I was doing mono red and I was putting a little bit of land hate in here, he's like, oh, did you hear about Mine Layer? I'm like, hell no. Right out of Odyssey, folks. I mean, hilarious. Price of Progress for 2. Price of Progress deals damage to each player equal to twice the number of non-basic lands that player controls. Self-explanatory, right? And then, of course, we have Ruination. Destroy all non-basic lands. Yep. I mean, run this. If you're in a play group that they like have all these rules and they get mad that you have gross cards like this, well, run it anyways, because why the hell not? This is Magic. They'll get over it. Brash Taunter. Oh, we're in the Shenanigans now. I just love me some Brash Taunter. I mean, it is a 1/1 indestructible that you can use as a blocker. And whenever it takes the damage, you take that damage. So let's say you have a 10-10 coming at your face. You block it with a Brash Taunter. They're going to be taking 10-10 in their face. Whenever Brash Taunter is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. I mean, you swing at me, you're getting it in the face, yo. For 3, you can tap it. Brash Taunter fights another target creature. That's the other hilarious part of this, is you can just keep pinging them with their largest animal. I mean, animal. Creature. Yes. All right, more shenanigans. Comet Storm, multi-kicker 1. You may pay an additional 1 any number of times as you cast this spell. So, red, X. Multi-kicker. Oh, man, I am so tongue-tied today. Choose any target, then choose another target for each time this spell was kicked. Comet Storm deals X damage to each of them. This can get gigantic and just really get you to the finish line. I mean, Comet Storm, put this in here specifically because there's a likelihood you're going to have lots of mana at your fingertips. Itali Primal Storm. I just love this card. Yes, I know it's not a dinosaur. Yes, I know it's not a dragon, but who cares? Whenever Itali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana costs. I mean, that's a broken card. It does cost 6, but that's a broken card. And especially if we are able to get haste on this bad boy. Staff of Domination. This works really well, especially early game, to untap our commander to create more treasure tokens. Untap Staff of Domination for 1. You gain 1 life. For 2. For 3, untap target creature. For 4, tap target creature. And for 5, draw a card. So much utility in this card, but mainly it's the untap target creature or tap target creature if we can't swing with Magda and we're trying to build up our treasure tokens. All right, Torbran, Thane of Redfell. I mean, you know, we are dealing in red, and this is pretty shenanigan-oriented. If a red source you control will deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. Love that card. Depending on how you're feeling and how froggy you are, you could certainly swap Torbran out for another burn spell. I mean, we're not running like Bolt in here or some of the other like standard red, just medium to small level burn spells. All right, we got haste because we really want our dragons to have haste, right? Right. All right, anger. As long as anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. Fervor, creatures you control have haste. Hammer of Perforos, haste. Oh, and it has this added sacrifice of land, put a 3/3 colorless goblin enchantment artifact creature token on the battlefield. We really do not care about that part. We care about the haste. Ilharg the Raise Boar. This one probably even slipped your mind, but man, this is great to tease out mechanics in our creatures. The Raise Boar attack. Raise Boar attacks. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. When it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library 3rd from the top. So it's got sticking power, gives things haste. We can keep bouncing that creature back in to give them protection from mass removal. All sorts of cool things this thing does. This thing is great. Great in this kind of a build. Swiftfoot Boots. If we don't have haste in another way, we get haste this way. Love it. Love some Swiftfoot Boot action. Treasures. I mean, obviously we're creating treasures in other ways. This one, for each land you control, create a treasure token. Captain Lannery. Whenever Captain Lannery's storm attacks, create a colorless treasure token. Whenever you sacrifice treasure, it gets +1. I mean, there's some versatility there. Curse of Opulence. This is a, mid-level creation because it also creates tokens for one of your opponents. Whenever an enchanted player is attacked, create a colorless artifact token named Gold. You can sack it for color. Each opponent attacks that player does the same. So basically, whoever's attacking that, you get a token. Dockside. If they have artifacts, all of your opponents for that matter, you create X treasure tokens. Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer. Just love this card. It's hilarious. whenever Ragavan Nimble Pilfer deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. And it's got dash for 2. You can pay the dash cost. If you do, it gains haste and is returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand. So if you're needing to just ping them, bring them back, ping them, that's fine if you're worried about removal. Otherwise, you're creating tokens. I mean, just this thing is amazing for a 1-drop, which is why it's financially spendy. Xorn, 3-drop. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create that +1. Great. Great treasure token generation. And there we go. And some of the reason I was so tongue-tied is because I was just blasting through this episode. Magda, Brazen Outlaw. This is great. I am definitely going to be bringing this to one of our future playgroup sessions. And we're just going to have lots of fun. And, yep, there's going to be some hemming and hawing when I ruination their keysters and different stuff. But you know what? This is magic, folks. This is magic. This is how you play it. All right, thanks for tuning in. Check out our other stuff, and thanks for supporting the channel. All right, cheers.